Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
This is Ed Cohen in San Diego, California, and you're on Global TV Talk Show. This is a broadcast unit of globalbusinessnews.net, which has been around since '03. Global TV talk shows were started on or about March 1 of 2020 when my live conference business crashed and burned as a result of the pandemic. And even now, today, even though fully vaxxed and all that, a little skittish about setting up a private meeting here and there, but I'll get back to you when I have one going. Meanwhile, we've perfected this kind of a medium. We've produced almost 200 broadcasts since the spring of 20. So this program is about you guys being book authors, as well as having a real job or real life. So let's go around the squares here, and everybody should self-intro just a little bit, and then we're going to get into the book, okay? All right, first, Carol Martindale, hello.
All right. Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me, Edwin. My name is Carol Martindale, and I oversee global partnerships at Leadfeeder, which is a tech startup based in Helsinki, Finland. I started there when there were only 15 employees, helped them grow U.S. operations, and we're now at 120 plus employees.
Wow. Good for you.
And we were remote first for the past 8 years, so way before the pandemic. And fortunately, I've been able to travel to over 30 countries since then, and having the time of my life. What else? Oh, and I'm based in upstate New York, outside the Lake George region. I have two boys, a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old.
That's very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's the name of that company?
Leadfeeder. And they're actually an
Leadfeeder.
analytics company, web analytics company. They can show you which companies are viewing your page. It's kind of Big Brother-ish. Just kidding.
Really? Okay, let's go to Suzanne Daniels. Hello and welcome to Global TV.
Hi, Edwin. Thank you for having me as well. My name is Suzanne Daniels, and I'm an attorney. I am based in Los Angeles, California, and I have traveled to most countries in the world except South America. That's the most countries.
Well, how cool. What
But
kind
I
of an
haven't-
attorney are you?
At the moment, I'm focusing on asset protection and legacy planning because I am an expat, and that's why I'm part of the book. I'm originally from South Africa, so now I help expats as they live across the world manage their estates and their financial planning.
Asset protection and legacy, what?
Planning.
Planning. That's
It's
good.
a fancy word for estate planning.
Yeah, how cool. Well, I hope you make a ton of money from this book, and so you can
Thank you.
use some of your own skills.
Yes.
All right, so let's go to Erica Yang. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, it's Hyowon Jang. So you
See
can
that?
call me.
Ooh.
I'm so sorry. No offense.
Oh, yeah, I
Well,
understand.
welcome. So where are you based today?
Yeah, thank you for having me here at Wien. I am based in Strasbourg, France. So it's
Nice.
East Europe, France.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a professional violinist. I was a concert master in orchestras, and I was a adjunct professor of music. And currently, I'm in string instrument business here in France for French musical instruments. And also, I have a nonprofit organization providing experiences, cultural experiences for focus on music and arts for children in marginalized areas. And for that, I'm also currently pursuing my second master's degree at Harvard. Yeah, so I will have to go to Boston next year. So I'm really excited about that too.
Well, that's cool. I grew up in Boston, uh,
Oh,
actually a suburb called Brookline, which is right across the river. And yeah, so, and we have several of our relatives that were smarter than me or studied more in high school, and they went to Harvard, but I didn't. So I'm very familiar with the area. So let's go to Studi in Redondo Beach, LA South Bay. Welcome again.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you for having me. And it's so good to see our co-authors in person. I'm an Indian. I relocated to the United States about 10 years ago. And I'm an organization design consultant. I'm a design thinker. Priyam and I started a company called Traveling Tuk Tuk that takes kids on virtual trips. It started thanks to the pandemic, and well, that's about it. Thank
No,
you.
we have to go deeper, Studi. Now, you've been disrupting LA, so tell us about that.
Yes, I co-organize co-host an event called Disrupt HR in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, it's not been happening for the last year and a half now because it's by default an in-person event. I've actually taken Disrupt HR to Bangalore, India as well. Other than that, I do a design thinking for HR event in Los Angeles, and it's called HR Hackathon. I have started a company called Blueberry Dot, through which I consult for companies. I help them use design thinking, organization design, focus on culture, and helping value employees more.
So I remember you gave me an intro to design thinking by way of that video, which is still on our website, by the way. It's very colorful and it made sense to me. So come to think of it, I have to go look at that again because I'm kind of stuck here at the end of August, and God, I got so much stuff I want to do, and I don't know where to put the pieces.
I'm happy
So,
to do a session with you anytime you want, Edwin.
a shrink session, yes. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So Erica, what is one of your favorite pieces that you like to play?
I love a lot of pieces. It's really hard to pick one, but let's say if I want to pick one piece that I want to play now is Sibelius Violin Concerto, first movement. Just I love this Finnish melody. It just reminds me of this nature. So yeah, that's what I like.
Oh, great. So someday, um, someday you come back on our show and you play, okay? Okay. Anyway, it's a worldwide audience. Pri, my friend, Pri, we've done so many shows together. And I saved you for last because you've been the inspiration for this broadcast. So tell us how your day was today, and tell us about this book. And I'm ready to be inspired, and I think our audience worldwide is ready to be inspired by Nomads. So tell us all about this, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ed, again for having me. I'm absolutely thrilled to be on your show honored to be on your show. I have been there with industry peers and this time with co-authors and fellow nomads. So just a little bit, I come from a background of global mobility. I head global partnerships at a French company called Helma International, where I have been working for the last 12 years, not only developing a network of partners, but I also do intercultural training for expatriates and assignees who are relocating abroad. Now, what attracted me to this book and how we all came about it is we were approached by the publisher because we each fell into a category of people who love traveling, whose lives have changed because of their travels, or those who have relocated to new countries and have had to adapt to new environments. So this is what attracted us to the book, and this is what attracted our publisher to us. And each of us share a story of how we have grown through our travels, or we have grown because of our traveling experiences. So it has really been quite exciting to be part of this journey. Never in our wildest dreams, I do not know about the others, did we think that we will have a book published. And it would be on a topic so close to our hearts, especially now. And nomads or digital nomads is a very intriguing and hot topic, because if the pandemic has proved anything, it has proved that we are location independent and we can work irrespective of where we live.
So the title of the book is Nomads, Adventurous Businesswomen Who Are Changing the World While Traveling.
Correct.
Okay, now each of you have your own story connected with that, right? So Erica, you said you're in Strasbourg. How long have you been living there?
Only a year before so I was born in Korea and lived in 6 countries. And yeah, it's all about, I don't know, like music and career and my studies. And it's always was a pleasure. And I'm really open to live in other countries in the future. So
yeah, and you're going to be coming to the U.S. to Harvard in Boston. Let's talk about this book, Erica, for just a second. Not 1 second, but just a few. What did you contribute? You probably contributed a lot, but tell me one thing that you contributed to this story.
one thing.
Okay, you can do 2.
I guess I really highlighted about music and also my family, because those are the 2 things, it's the features that I really value in my life.
Great. Okay. Suzanne, what about yourself? About this book, what was 1 or 2 things that stand out in your mind immediately?
I think the varied experiences of all the women. It was really inspiring to read all the stories. We are very, very different, yet the transformation that we've all experienced, it's really inspiring to read. Women from literally all over the world. I think that was the most important. My own story was about how I got from South Africa to here. Through my daughter, so that it was a different perspective of traveling. I didn't focus on having lived in different countries and all of that for my section of the book, but I think the most important thing is, if you want a perspective of how people have incorporated travel into their lives, women, and having families and careers, etc., it's a really good book to read.
Well, and I know personally several people from originally from South Africa in Southern California now. So there's a whole world here. There's a lot of worlds here in California. Yes. It's so big. So Studi, you'd agree to that, right? And so tell me about your current difficulties with the visa.
Yes, I'm in the United States on a dependent visa on my husband's work permit. Unfortunately, the current immigration processes are really backed up in the United States, leading to me losing my work permit. And so I lost it in June, and it can take up to 20 months before I can do any for-profit work. So I can continue doing nonprofit work. I can volunteer, but I cannot do any work that yields any kind of financial reward anywhere in the world. So I cannot do a project in India and get paid either in India or in the United States. So, but it allows me to write a book.
Yeah. Okay. So now about the book, give me a quick insight into one or two items specifically that come to mind immediately about this book.
To me, what really attracted me, and then as I've been reading the book, what I really like is how it's the journey of each of these women who we have all adapted to situations. Life is never perfect. And we have all adapted to it, and we have enjoyed that adaptation and that transformation. And I think that really comes out really strongly in the book. And I think that is a little bit of the traveling mindset or the traveling gene that Priyam talks about in her chapter. I don't remember the code, but yes, there's a traveling gene that she talks about, and it's absolutely genius. And I think it's part of that comes out very clearly because we've all been able to adapt to hardships, different situations, and make the best out of it.
So when you say a gene, are you talking about like 23andMe?
Something like that. I'll let Priyam chime in.
Okay, Pri.
So Ed, my chapter is called the DR-D4-7R gene. So it's the wondrous gene. It is an actual gene variant that scientists have discovered that ignites the sense of adventure and risk-taking in people. And that is really a reflection of the stories in this book. It is about ordinary women who have done extraordinary things in their lives because of a sense of adventure. And it is all linked with travel because there is that sense of risk-taking. And when I say risk-taking, I will pass it on now to Carol because her story is all about risk-taking and gambling.
Okay, Carol. Tell us the idea here and tell us about what the odds were against you.
Yeah, no, I love that segue. Thanks, Priya. So my chapter is called Calculated, and I talk about gambling and my poker playing skills and how that's helped me throughout life. But the distinction I wanted to make is that if you take calculated risk, you can do really well in life and get what you want. And then people usually equate risk-taking to gambling, where the odds are against you. But if you take calculated risks, you can get there. And I talk about there's different methodologies you can take, and there's parallels between poker playing and life in general, whatever it may be.
So it takes you around corners, so you can see around, quote unquote, around corners better than other people?
I would say so. I mean, I think as a poker player, you have to be able to read your audience, know the environment, know everyone's weaknesses, know everyone's strengths, know your own weaknesses, know your own strengths, and play upon that, right? Or know what everyone's motivations are so you can speak better to it. It's helped me in my management skills. It's helped me in terms of who I decided my life partner was going to be. It helped me just with family upbringing. And, funny enough, I set out to write this book and this chapter to help others take risks, but it turned out to be a therapeutic session for me too. And I realized I come from a family of survivors, and we've all taken risks. Like my parents escaped Vietnam. They're refugees on a boat, and they went the whole 9 yards. Fortunately, I was born here, and they gave me this life, right? But still, I came from a life a family of survivors, and I had my own hardships, coming, which we all do, right? So it's not to say like mine were any worse than anyone else's, but it's just how you navigate around it.
So your specialty is poker and not gin or 21?
I can play a lot of card games, but poker is definitely my thing. I mean, I won my first big tournament when I was 16. I won $2,000. I put in $20. I won $2,000. And then throughout college, I was making enough money to support my spendings and everything.
Wow, that's great. So do you talk about that in the book?
Yes. My entire chapter revolves around poker playing and how I related to down to the level of buying a car or of how I use poker playing skills.
Okay, so you're not going to give away any secrets to the world of broadcasting.
You gotta
here, right?
read it. You gotta buy the book.
You got to buy the book, but give us a quick insight, like a tease. All right. So let's just say that. So is it 5 card, or you play bigger?
No, like Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, I forget
Hold'em.
that. I used to know that, but I lost, and so I gave up. But
you get 2 cards, and then there's a 5 cards community that you share, and then you try to make the best hand out of it.
Yeah, but at the same time as you're doing that, you're watching other people's eyes and
absolutely,
whether they're touching their hair or whatever.
I guess the secret I shouldn't really say this is that I'm really bad at that. I'm actually really bad at, but what I do is I throw people off their game. If they're watching me, I make sure that I'm as sporadic as possible. So I might pretend that doing one thing means one thing, but it's actually not. And I make it a pattern. So I try, that's my secret. And now if I lose my next poker game, it's your fault.
Okay, but now you're looking at this. We're not in a poker game here, but maybe. But so what do you see in me, for instance? Are there tells, TELLS, tells? Are you able to see something that you can take advantage of?
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot. I mean, just in life in general.
I'm just joking. Forget it.
Yeah.
So in a courtroom. So are you, Suzanne? Are you into courtrooms, or are you?
I used to be, but now I need the flexibility to work from home because I'm also managing my daughter's acting career.
I see. In Hollywood?
Yes, my chapter is called One Way Ticket to Hollywood, because she decided when she was very young, she was 8 years old, that she wanted to be an actress. The story there is that she's also a blind young lady. So she's actually the first blind student who graduated from college with an acting degree. And she graduated summa cum laude. So I'm a very proud mom.
Wow, that is an amazing story of success,
Yes.
stick-to-itiveness. What would you say is her, other than support from you, but what would you say would have been her breakthrough in managing risk and fear during her younger days?
I think it was because she was, in her younger days, she was quite fearless. I think she didn't realize, because she was born blind, she didn't know any other way. And I treated her like any other child. So she didn't realize that she couldn't see, in the sense that what the other children, she had friends and they all played together. So I think her sense of she has a very strong sense of self even today, and I think that's important for children. She broke her arm when she was young. She jumped off a monkey gym, and the teacher, I remember the teacher was like terrified to tell me, and I was like, but all children do that, they all do that. So there's nothing there's nothing spectacular about that. But I think what was for me, yes, I was worried and all of that, but I mean that's normal mummy thing. But for me, what I was proud about is that she took that step. You know, she jumped off, and she missed, and she got up, and she got on again. And those are what kids do. And I think if we can teach our children those things, it stands them in good stead. I mean, as an 8-year-old, she told me I'm going to be an actress, and here I am in Los Angeles, so supporting her. So, you know, the strength and tenacity.
That is quite a story. So is she focusing in on certain scripts? So the scripts now, you know, you can't read a script. So it's audio then.
It's audio. It's a combination. It's audio. I also read it. That's why I say to you that I manage her career, because I help her with those things. I've learned that there's something called a script controller, which I have become. So I would make sure that I read it to her, she learns the lines, and I make sure that she reads it properly. So yeah, so we have quite an interesting, it's been a very interesting journey. It's also been quite interesting because going to college here, she had to do things online for the last year. So part of it, I was in South Africa. So helping her from South Africa and here was interesting. And the teachers learned some very different ways of teaching her to act. So it was wonderful.
This is a great story. So have you heard of this group called Springboard?
No, I haven't.
So it's a friend of mine. In fact, she did a couple of talk shows with me a long time ago. But and she spoke at one in Miami, one of my live events a couple of years ago. Anyway, she has two daughters, both of them with various disabilities, and so she formed this company, this consultancy, to first of all get these kids into proper training, but also get ready for the workplace. And then she found, of course, barriers, and so then she started the consultancy to work with corporate HR people in very big companies, to set aside a program and get funding or some kind of grants that facilitate a broader program to hire the disabled. So I just bring that up because I've had a customer utilizing this kind of a skill. Okay, so I would imagine that your daughter will be handed a wide choice of roles to play featuring the life of a blind kid and the interpretation of that in life, you know, even though you think, well, it's nothing other than she can't see.
Well, that's an interesting bit. She has been auditioning for roles where the character is blind, but in her career so far, she has not played a blind person. It's actually quite interesting. And I mean, we only started noticing this when we had to put her resume together. And I said to her, "Do you realize that not one of the characters that you've played has been a blind person?" So that was very interesting. I mean, she has been auditioning now for roles of blind people because obviously there's a focus on the diversity and bringing those kinds of issues forward. But I mean, up until now, it's been a very interesting journey. So I'm actually looking forward to the next phase.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a timely announcement.
Hi, I'm Sergei Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we are researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what happened to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on Ed's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This is a wonderful group you got here. This is quite an achievement. Okay, so now what are you going to do to, other than this show, what are you going to do to promote the book? Great.
So one of the things, Ed, is networking in forums and in groups where there are like-minded people. For instance, people who have learned or gathered experiences through their traveling, which has helped them in their life. A little bit, in the story that I write about, it is about pursuit of happiness and finding your happy place, which I was able to do through the years of traveling through different places, interacting with different people. I've, kind of fumbled through my experiences, and it has been really quite helpful during the pandemic, where you have to face realities, adapt to new situations. And so these are the type of people that I am reaching out to, perhaps do a podcast. Carol and I, we were checking whether there were forums of, HR forums where they are talking about either digital nomads or of women who have overcome certain challenges to find their happy place and talk about it, share their experiences. And truly, as I echo what Susan says, we are a group of very diverse women, sharing a common goal. And this is something I think important to share to the world. So in terms of promotion, we are looking for spaces like yours, Ed, and any other platforms where they would like to highlight women travelers, people, risk takers, and people who have something to share which can help somebody else. You never know.
So I want to invite you all, or just one of you, to come. And really, it's open for all. September 1, coming up, is number 3 broadcast under the theme of Become a Global Voice for Change. Now, that's pretty broad, but it sounds like a do-gooder thing. And sort of it is, but it's all about reinvention or coming up with a response to the pandemic, whether it's personal or branding or business-oriented, anything. So we've already done 2 of these broadcasts. We have people from around the world on the program, and some good things have already come of that. So we have the next in the series coming up on September 1, and we have quite a variety of people. So Pri, why don't you guys discuss this, and one of you come on the program and talk about the book. You hold up the book and make sure people see it. It's a pretty broad audience, and just not one day, but long term. In fact, let me just say that the audience for this particular show today is not right now. We're recording it live for the spontaneity. However, 99.9% of the audience will be across the next 12 months as I host sponsor on globalbusinessnews.net, connecting to our YouTube channel, and then through that to other outlets, including Facebook and other social media. But we market it to our long list of corporate contacts. Free, we do sends, direct sends is what I call it. And then we also package it with other motivational, programs. So we've been averaging total, just so you know, we've had roughly 16,000 audience page views between June 1 and yesterday. All right, about 70% US, 20% Europe, India and Asia Pacific around 10%. We want to grow that, of course. Latin America, 1%. So this kind of a program, Becoming a Global Voice for Change, is designed to bring in a potpourri, a cross-section of attitudes and personalities and experiences. So I offer that to you. And then we can also go forward into, say, October in another chapter that focuses on, just say, women, okay, or something else that could appeal to your audience, to your desired audience. Because as a producer, what I'm trying to do is build audience following for a couple of reasons. First of all, I like what I do, and I like it to survive, and that having an audience trackability, if you will, in other words, the analytic thing, gives me some legitimacy when I try to sell ad space, okay, and because that's how I can pay bills. So we are developing, just so you know, a membership group that will not be expensive, but it's a way to generate some cash. But it will give access and introductions to our speakers on the various shows. So I can't collect a fee for that, but I can collect some kind of a membership fee that has all these services available. So this going forward, just trying to be creative here. And I could see that what you're going to be doing with this book, because the 5 of you and legions of other women who are going to be really interested to learn about this book. Pri, why don't you, or Studi, why don't you hold up the book to the camera and let's take a good look at it. Okay, so a little bit to your right. Yeah, okay, right there, and straighten it out. And no, the other way. Okay, so you can see Nomads is the main headline. Studi, why don't you read aloud what it says right underneath it?
There's Nomads, adventurous business women that are changing the world while traveling.
Okay, and I'll go a little bit deeper. While traveling means not only being on a plane or a boat or a train, but actually living somewhere.
Correct. So some of us have relocated, some of us have just explored the world in different ways. Yeah, and accepted challenges along the way.
Yeah, Pri, do you want to add to that?
No, so I just, exactly what Stuti said. It has been, the book shows both sides. It has been about women who have relocated, women who travel, women who have done self-discovery, through the travel. And that is important. These stories, again, I mean, we are quite ordinary women from around the world. And our stories perhaps ring true to other women around the world. So this is something that will be of interest to people, because I think at the end of every chapter, there is a certain unsaid phrase of this too is possible, and that is just what we need. When you look around and watch the news, and there's quite a lot of despair and how do I say, a little bit of oh, not again, not another variant, not another wave. There's a sense of where is the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think this book over and over throughout the chapter reassures people, reassures women that there is that light, and through very diverse stories. So that's truly the pitch of the book.
So Erica, if I could ask you for commentary, this sounds like it's a symphony, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. So,
yeah, like it's a combination. Okay, this is the strings over here, and over there is the wind, and then you get percussion. And so you're a string person. So what could be a bet? I got to stop talking. I'd like you to talk.
Yeah, I mean, we are all diverse people, diverse ladies from all around the world with different backgrounds, speaking different language, from different culture, but we are all here putting our passion and our history, our stories like that would actually resonate with everyone else in this book. It's really compressed. So yeah, it is really a compressed symphony, as you mentioned. It's a really symphony. Someone would be more as a making stories as a string, and someone would actually having stories like winds. And I'm sure that you will all enjoy our stories.
So Suzanne, don't you think this book ought to be recorded like books on tape for people who are either blind or they just like to get their stuff that way?
Ed, that would be awesome. I think it would be wonderful to read. I think Stuti and I were actually looking at opportunities to read our chapters. But now you've given us a better idea. We get each woman to read her chapter. Or, you as a producer, maybe you'd produce it for us.
Well, my partner is producer Paul, and he will be glad to get paid to do that. we all need money. So but I don't know, Carol, can you dedicate some winnings to help support this?
Anything for these women. I actually, now that we're on the topic of money, I wanted to make one point about traveling. And I feel like a lot of people think like you need money to travel. And it's like a luxury, right? Privilege for many people. But I remember when I started my first business, I was poor, I had no money. And my husband and I, we would travel by car in the US and we would pitch a camp, that's what we did, travel from state to state. And that's how we saved money and still got to explore with no money, right? Or now there's cheap Airbnb options. But you don't need to necessarily travel the world to find purpose or meaning or take risks. Like I never lived in any other country. I traveled, but I know that I can say for certain most of my important decisions I made in life were when I was away somewhere, getting a different perspective, seeing other cultures, meeting other people from all walks of life. And so, yeah, I wanted to reiterate that point. You don't actually have to have the money to live in other countries. You can leverage the world with very little.
Studi?
Yeah, I'd like to build on what Carol said, that so first of all, we're over here, all of us, we're in very lucky situations. Most of us are in the United States. Erica is in the Euro region, Priyam is in India. I just realized that how hard the lockdown was for people in Singapore, because they were literally stuck in a city, as opposed to for all of us, we could still travel, like at least a little bit, at least just go 2 hours away. But Singapore, 2 hours away is either Malaysia, which is not allowed, or the ocean. So the other thing that for me, what really made sense is there are digital nomads, or people who travel for a living, or they have not grown roots anywhere. Whereas what I found remarkable about this book is that all of us have in some way grown roots. So for Erica, it's her music that is the root, and her family. And for Carol, it's her children, and it's a nonprofit, and it's all her endeavors. And for Suzanne, it is her daughter's career. So each of us, so I think what this book shows is that you can grow roots and still travel. So it doesn't stop you. So first of all, there are different versions of travel. Everybody's definition of travel is different. The other is you can still travel the world and have a career and have a family and grow roots. So not everybody can just leave everything and go and live in another country, as much as we would love to, for some time at least. But I think there is this balance that is struck in this book, which I personally really love.
I agree.
What's your... Yeah, go ahead.
I agree. And something, because we are using the term travel, so I'm just going to use a vocabulary linked to travel, and that is baggage. A lot of our stories speak about cultural baggage. We have relocated with cultural baggages, or when we travel, we encounter situations where we realize that we are reacting because of our cultural baggage. And there's something really funny, or something ties us all together in this little group here. Actually, all our parents, well, perhaps maybe less for Stuti and me, but all our families generally, whether it be Erica's or Carol's or Stuti's, would have been proud, very proud, if we had all gone with the career Suzanne has chosen.
Yes.
In Asia, when I read the stories of Carol and Erica, it really struck me that it is so similar in Asia, that our parents expect us to be lawyers, doctors, or accountants. And the 4 Asians here, we don't fall into that stereotypical career woman, or we didn't choose that career path. So that is something that really struck me, that it's a cultural baggage that we carry and we have overcome. But Susan, you would have been a star at our home. So yes.
I must tell you that that cultural baggage actually comes from South Africa as well. Those were my choices. I was told lawyer, doctor, teacher, accountant, and I wasn't allowed to be an accountant because accountants weren't treated the same as lawyers. So
yes, and my father's a doctor, my mom's
there's a hierarchy, if you remember. So I'm very much part of that baggage. I just chose to be one because I actually wanted to be one. I wanted to be a lawyer, but that was also frowned upon in my family because my grandmother was a teacher and she wanted me to be a teacher. And I said, no, I can't teach children.
Well, it sounds like you did a great job with your daughter.
Thank you. But that's one person. I did actually lecture at university. And when I told my grandmother, yeah, here's your, I did this at university, she said, that's not teaching.
We hear you.
Yes.
So you see, we have that in common. I think this is like actually, I didn't write about that in the book, but I think Priya is right. We all have that cultural baggage. That's the one thing that struck me, is that how, in fact, that we're from different parts of the world, but how we all have similar baggage is a great word in the travel word, and how we've actually overcome them in a very quiet but firm way. You don't need to be loud to be a revolution. So I'm very interested in your global change episode.
Becoming a global voice number for change. Becoming a global. So anyway, I have fun with that. So I have to tell you that I've had baggage too, but without getting too deep into it. There's some of that baggage got lost along the way, and I don't remember anymore. But which is good. But no, when I was a kid, a teenager, even now, as you could tell, I was a stutterer, and it was very difficult. None of the girls would go out with me, So I needed to figure out how to fix it. So now this talk show is like further adult therapy for what I'm doing. So I thank you for being my guest on Global TV, and please come back. And I'll get you in this memo regarding September 1, but we produce about 10 broadcasts a week, and not all of them are preordained. Some happen fast, and others are set up like this one for a long term in advance, and a lot of prep. So I welcome the opportunity to help promote your book, and individually y'all. And please come back on Global TV, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, hold up. Okay, hold up that book cover one more time. Okay, now a little bit higher so we can see the pretty picture. A little bit higher. There we go. And so she's walking down the street, well dressed and confident, right?
Yes.
Ready to climb all the mountains. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Carrying a red suit.
I guess.
Oh, and there you are on the back. Okay, and so this is on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. There is a Kindle version, there is a paperback, and there is a hardcover version.
Okay, and the official name is Nomads, and then there's a subtitle.
Oh, it's Adventurous Businesswomen that are changing the world while traveling.
Okay, thank you.
And it's written by 16 different authors.
16? Yes. Well, where are the rest of them?
We thought it would be quite a cacophony. It would not be a symphony anymore.
Good one. Good one.
It won't be a tug of war, though. No. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you
so much, Edwin. Thanks, everybody.
A good show. Nice to meet you. I'd like a poker lesson.
Will do.
All right. And thank you, Erica. And see you at Harvard, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. All right. This is Ed signing off in California.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.